Rabbi Sai. So we have Lamaisa, a very important Yesod today, because part of Hilchos Tefillah is to recognize that the koyach of Tefillah and the kavanah that a person has can make major nafkaminas to some of the halachas that apply in the Beis Medrash and the Beis HaKnesses during davening. As we're going to discuss Be'ez Hashem today, today's halacha she is found in Orach Chaim Semekov Beis. You can look it up over there. Valdig halacha, Rabbi said today. Really starts from a Gemara. The Gemara Brachos Chav Zayin Amud Aleph tells us as follows. I got some mice over there. I'm not going to go through the whole story with what happened over there. They were davening behind Rav. Rav finished davening. They didn't want to take 3 steps back. Why not? What happened? Kitzur, the Gemara says like this, a very important statement. The Gemara says, Omer Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Osa Lavo Keneged Hamaspalal. It is forbidden, ArtScroll translation of the word Osa. It is Osa to pass in front of someone that is davening. Now, Rabbi said this is Nageya to 3 situations. Situation number 1 is you want to take 3 steps back in order to start Shmoneh Esrei. Let's say, you're supposed to start with the tzibur, which means this shouldn't be a shaila. But if for whatever reason you come late to davening and you're starting a couple of minutes late and there's a guy behind you who's davening Shmoneh Esrei, so I want to take my 3 steps back, but I'm walking into his airspace, which we'll get to exactly what that means. That's number 1. Number 2 is stam. You didn't like to walk. I'm saying, the goyim stand. They stand still, and that's it. Yidden walking, you find people pacing up and down and this way and that way. It's a gavaldik azach, right? It comes from, that's the reason, by the way, why we always light a ner as a representation of a neshama. When someone wants to light a yotzei candle, you light a candle, a ner. You look at a candle, it's always moving. It's always striving to go up. That's a different thing. The Zohar Kodesh brings that down. But generally, it's always moving. A neshama of a yid is always moving. It's always, it's busy. ADHD, whatever you want to call it. Al Kaponim is walking up and down the aisles. He's busy. He's right there. No one stands still, right? So you're walking up and down. There's a guy davening Shmoneh Esrei. Aaron Gedalia, how are you allowed to stand in front of him? How are you allowed to walk in the aisle across when he's davening Shmoneh Esrei? That's another example. And example number 3, scenario number 3, is when I finish Shmoneh Esrei, I want to now take 3 steps back, but the guy behind me is still davening. So those are the 3 times that this halacha is nageya, which is extremely nageya almost every single day, every single time that you're in shul. So once again, we have over here a Gemara, and the Gemara says so clearly, Osa lavo keleged hamispalin. It is absolutely forbidden for a person to walk in front of someone hamispalin. Hamispalin, of course, means Shmoneh Esrei. And there are shittas, the whole Krishma. We're not going into all of those shittas at this moment of time. Right now, we're talking about Shmoneh Esrei. A guy's davening Shmoneh Esrei, it is absolutely also for you to pass in front of him or walk into his airspace, as we will get to in a moment. Now, the question is why? What's the problem? I'm not annoying him. I'm not touching him. Like my bayah. So there are really 2, but I guess 3 reasons for this halacha, mid and nafkamina between the first 2. Number 1, Magen Avraham brings this, halacha lemaisa, Mishabur brings the halacha lemaisa, the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch as well, and that is simple, you are being mevatel his kavanah. The guy's davening, he's davening, you're going into his area, you're moving around over there, that moving around is mevatel his kavanah, as I state in Magen Avraham, okay? As I state in Magen Avraham, we'll see, that's true. Reason number 2, again, of course it's true, the Magen Avraham says it, Mr. Burris says, how about it's true? We'll see, I'll looking at the words, you're not going to get distracted. Oh. Aha. Okay, reason number 2. Reason number 2 is because you're mafsik bein ha-mispalel l'shchina. Okay? By the way, that's a Chayei Adam. Mr. Burris also brings down this reason, which is, he's davening. When you're davening through Rabbeinu Shalom, always, and especially Shmoneh Esrei, the Shekhinah is right there. What gives you the right to walk in front of the Shekhinah? You're being mafsik, you're interrupting the guy and the Shekhinah. So that's the reason number 2, that the Chayei, by the way, the nafkamina between that reason, Chaim, would be if you have a glass mechitza. Okay? The guy's davening in one of these fancy offices, he's davening Shmoneh Esrei in the office, and you're davening on the other side of the glass. So if the reason is mevatel kavanah, mevatel is kavanah, because he can see me, it's a glass, right? It's a see-through glass. But if the reason is mafsik bein ha-shchina, so there's a hefsek, there's a glass, there's a new head, it's a different room. That'll be enough Gemina. But not for now. There is another reason, by the way, the Heilige Buchat Shnei Shel Avram brings this reason, that says, Kadei Shelo Yitruva Mispalel, you may come to, by mistake, hit him or push him, and therefore that's the reason why the Eish Shel Avram brings, why you can't be over Lefnei Mispalel. Aaron Gedalia, are you with me? So this is very important for a person to know this at all times, when you are davening and you're walking around the shul, that there are people not davening Shmoneh Esrei to make sure you're not over on this halacha. By the way, This is also, I find this sometimes quite difficult, not here in Yeshiva, Baruch Hashem, but sometimes you daven in different places and you're about to take 3 steps back, so you look behind you to make sure the coast is clear. There's a guy behind you, he's looking around, he's enjoying the scenery. I'm like, oh, great, he's finished, right? You take one more check and all of a sudden, he's davening. You're like, I don't know, is he davening? Is he not davening? When you don't know if the guy's davening or not, then you have a problem because you don't know what the situation is. The Be'alocha, by the way, brings down this kasha, whether or not the guy's not concentrating. They asked from Chaim Kanievsky, actually, this kasha. The guy's not concentrating anyway. He's not even davening, he's barely davening, maybe he's saying the words, maybe he's not saying the words, not even having kavana. You're mavakal is kavana, the guy's got no kavana. So they asked from Chaim Kanievsky, and he said, Avada, it's still also, there's no shayla, because again, you always have the other reason of the shechina. There is, by the way, Reb Shlomo Zalman wanted to be mekel, maybe if it's a mitzvah gemura to leave, after there's a mocha to be mekel in such a case, if he's not having kavana and you're going for a mitzvah, could be you can mitzaref that situation over there, b'shas hadchat, mocha to be mekel. So that is the halacha over there. Let me go now through the exact details of this halacha. Okay? Now this halacha is brought down in Shulchan Aruch, by the way, it's paskin in Shulchan Aruch. It's not only the halacha of walking in front of, it's also sitting as well. We're not going to discuss so much sitting, we're going to discuss walking, which is taking 3 steps back, whether it's before Shemoneh Esrei or after Shemoneh Esrei, and start walking around the shul when the guy is davening Shemoneh Esrei. What happens if the guy is finished Shemoneh Esrei, he's now at the end of Shemoneh Esrei, and he's davening, all the requests. So he's not actually saying the words of Shemoneh Esrei, but he hasn't yet taken 3 steps back at this stage. What do we say in this case? Do we say that Kol Zman he hasn't taken 3 steps back, he's still in Shemoneh Esrei, he's still Oymid Lefnei Shechina, he's right there? Or he's not davening anymore, really. He's davening his own personal tefillahs, which is beautiful and it's amazing and everything's great. But he's not really Shemoneh Esrei anymore. So that's the kash over there. The Aruch HaShulchan Lemaisa, the Butchat Shanei Shalavom also is mekel and holds there's no problem with taking 3 steps back when you're holding in that case. However, most poskim, including the Mishabur's Psak Halacha Lemaisa, the Chofetz Chaim, is machmeh and holds the Maisa if his Kol Zman is in Shemoneh Esrei, as long as he hasn't taken 3 steps back, there is no heta whatsoever for a person to take 3 steps back in that case. By the way, Moedik Chiddush, the Olam has to know this Chiddush. If you're learning the Halacha in Sebekov Beis, you have to Shalom know this Chiddush. What's the Chiddush? This is a Chiddush, maybe it's not a Chiddush to you guys, I don't know. For me, it was a Chiddush when I saw it. Reb Chaim Kanievsky writes in Archas Yosha, he brings on the Sugya Tefillah. So he brings that what happens if you're waiting for the guy behind you to finish Shemoneh Esrei, and sometimes, Kanai Nahora, he's davening Azah Shemoneh Esrei. Beautiful, you're jealous almost of his Shemoneh Esrei. I wish I could have such a Shemoneh Esrei. Beautiful thing, right? I'll upon him. I have to wait, and it's annoying, and it's like uncomfortable. So Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, by the way, you don't have to stand with your feet together, even though that's what you're holding because you're in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, so your feet are together and you're waiting to take 3 steps back, right? But Reb Chaim Kanievsky says you can open your legs. You don't have to have them together. Together, again, not to discuss right now. It's like a malach stands with one leg. That's why we do it. Whatever. But upon him, Reb Chaim Kanievsky says if you are waiting for the guy behind you to finish the Shemoneh Esrei and then you take 3 steps back and it's taking a while, even if it's not taking a while, you can separate your legs. You can wait. When he finishes, you can then take 3 steps back. You don't have to worry about things, which I think is very important chiddush for the olam. Again, for me it was a chiddush. Maybe for the olam it's not such a chiddush, but that's that. Now let's move on to Rabbi Halacha Lemaisa. What does it mean I can't walk into someone davening? Like for example, let's say a guy's walking over here, right, by the Aron HaKodesh, and then when Tzvi Dov is right at the back over there, he's davening Shemoneh Esrei. That's the Shemoneh Esrei, right? So one second. Also Lavan of Name Spalel? Yida. You hear the kasha, right? Can I walk over here if Tzvi Dov over there is davening? What's the halacha in such a case? Like, where does it go until? Let's say you're davening in Bells. Let's say you're davening in the Koisel. Ooh, Koisel is going to be a hard one, by the way. Any place like the Koisel area where you've got lots of different. I don't know if anyone was ever Zoycha Chaim. You daven Marav in 770, right? You know what goes on over there, right? It's unbelievable. And the Olam knows. Anyone ever been there? You never been there at 770 daven Marav? Really? So I'm one of the only people here. Me, and every little, they stop mamish in the middle, like the boom. Okay, minion, let's go. Like I said, people are learning and davening, tits are not, and it's gewaldig. Hida, you were there, right? A few times, huh? Camped out over there? Not yet. Okay, in the tunnels, out the tunnels. Al Kapanim. So what are you doing in such a case? How far does it go? A guy's davening in the Kaisel, all the way at the back, by the wall over there. You can't walk in the front. Also, Lava of name is Palo. What does that mean? So let's understand it. So the Gemara says, and this is much more from the Gemara, that it's only if Lemaisa you're right behind him, right? In other words, if it's opposite, you're right behind him directly, he's in front, you're behind. That's what it seems to be. But it sounds like if you're on the side, then it's okay. Okay, that's number one. So let's start with the halacha and the maisa. I'm not going to go into every detail because it's going to take us forever. But let's just go very quickly. This is the parameters of this halacha. If the guy's directly in front, okay, dalad amas. So that means where tzvi dov is to over here, we're okay. It's way more than dalad amas. Even if you go with the chazon ish dalad amas, right? Even be'etzem where tzvi dov is to the bim is more than full dalad amas, I think, l'chayra. Which means that if tzvi dov is davening in the back over there, you can walk in the area but in front of the bim over there because it's more than dalad amas. Now I will tell you, for those of people that are makpid on Divrei Kabbalah, the Ben Ish Chai brings down from the Zohar Kodesh that says, the Kaf HaChaim brings at the halacha l'maisa, that as long as he can see you, it's asa. So according to the Zohar Kodesh, if a person is davening right in front of him, for as long as he can see, it is also to go in front. Ben Ish Chai brings, Kaf HaChaim brings it, Svardim Kinira and Makpid on it. But again, according to Mishabura L'Halacha L'Maisa, if it's more than dalad amas, there is no problem of walking in front of him or taking 3 steps back. As long as I take my 3 steps back and the guy's behind me more than dalad amas away from me, right, then you are okay over there. Now, what about what we call Stadin Shalafonov, which means he's in front of me, I'm davening Shemona Esrei here, he's in front of me, but not directly in front of me, he's to the side, either there or there. What's the din? So he's in front of me, I could see him quite clearly, but it's not directly in front of me, he's over there or over there. What's the halacha? Again, this isn't okay, every shul has people all over the place, right? So the halacha is like this. The Magen Avraham says, as long as he can be seen, as long as the guy can see you, your mavatal is kavana, and it's included in the issa. Of course, we're talking about within dalad amas. Make a circle around the guy, dalad amas. I'm not allowed to walk into his dalad amas by either taking 3 steps back or walking stam in the base medrash. So according to Magen Avraham, which by the way is the psak halacha l'maisa, the Pri Megadim, the Heilige Shulchan Aruch, the Balatanya paskins this way, that if he's not in front of you directly, but he's to the side, it is also to go into his dalad amas. There is an Eliyah Rabbah that's makel. The Aruch Shulchan seems to be makel like the Eliyah Rabbah, so I guess there is a mokim to be makel. The Moshe Berurah, by the way, brings both the Magen Avraham and the Eliyah Rabbah and does not paskin halacha l'maisa what to do in this case. So I would say for the olam, if it's difficult for you in b'shas hatchak, you need to go somewhere, whatever it is, then in Hanam is definitely a mokim to be makel. That even if it's within dalad amas, is not exactly in front of you, there's a mokim to make. If it's more than dalad amas, there's no shaila or chalal. If you're not entering his dalad amas, there's no question. Eliyah Dov, you with me, right? You got me. Okay, Gavaldik. What happens if the guy's not in front of me? Not to the side, not directly in front of me, he's mamish on the side of me. Okay, so he's mamish equal to me on the side. What's the din? He's davening next to me. He's davening next to me. But when I take a step back, I'm in his dalad amas. That's the Metzias, right? We're not talking about more than dalad amas. We're talking about within the dalad amas. So halacha l'maisa, once again, the Zohar Kodesh paskins lahachmi, which, by the way, many poskim, Shulchan Aruch, Balatanya, and others are machmir for, but there are the Aruch Shulchan and others, Chai Adam, want to be makel. Reb Shlomo Zalman says Tov Lizohar, to be careful. If the guy is just directly on the side of me, if I'm within his dalad amas, that would be a problem. And obviously, if he's behind me, then there's no shaila, right? If he's behind me, further, whatever it is, then there's no problem as long as I'm not going to his dalad amas in that case. Now, there's a lot more to discuss over there, but I just want to finish off with a couple of things. Number one, when would it be mutter for a person to walk within the dalad amas of a person davening Shemona Esrei? So one would be a mechitza. If there's a mechitza, obviously there's an absolute wall there. There's no shaila whatsoever. Even if it's a glass wall, generally we're going to be makel in that case. However, the Mishnah Berurah brings, for example, over here, there's something kavua in between him and me, so then I can be makel. Now, it's the mashmos from the Mishnah Berurah is something kavua always. Lav dafka a chair or a shtender, but something that's kavua there always, then there's a mokim for a person to be makel, even if it's, because then we consider it to be a different rishos. However, the Mishnah Berurah says if he can see you clearly, then it doesn't make a difference because it's still mavatal is kavana, which is the second reason, which is a problem. However, the Chai Adam is a little bit more makel, the Aruch Shulchan, the Oz Nidbru, and others that want to be more makel, that if it's something kavua that's there, then it could be more makel, which by the way we can use as a tzad to be makel, that if a guy's standing behind a table and behind the bima, for sure in a svarim shrank or something like that, that's kavua always, there's definitely going to be a mokim for a person to be makel in that case. But again, there are those who are machmir if you can see me, because again I'm mavatal is kavana, which is the other reason. Now, what if the guy has a talus over his head? What if I look behind me, I want to take my 3 steps back, the guy's got his talus all over his head. The Be'alacha brings this kasha, therefore he can't see me. I'm not mevatel his kavana. So the Be'alacha says, Einochanami, you're right, there should be no problem, but since we have the other reason of the Shechina, which doesn't make a difference if you can see me or not, that's why it's Roy Lahachme, not to step back into his daladamas, even if he's wearing talus, and that's the psak of the Aruch HaShulchan, because you're mafsik bein hashchina, and obviously the same thing will be if he's got his eyes closed, even though I'm not being mevatel his kavana because you can't see me, but I am being mafsik bein hashchina in that case, and therefore that's why I should be machmir over there. The last real thing is, what if the guy, and this is a terrible thing by the way, it's called the Berber Shus Harabim. When you learn the Gemara about a Berber Shus Harabim, this is an example. Chaim, what's the example? A guy walks into shul late, which is problem number 1. Problem number 2 is, when you come in late, that often he wants to be makbid on some kubeis, doesn't want to walk in front of people who are davening. The oilam davening Shemon Esrei in middle of mincha. What's he going to do? So he stands by the entrance over there, right where the Sidurim are, and he starts to Shemon Esrei. He's a Berber Shus Harabim because he's causing everybody to because he's causing people to walk in front of him because he started late, but maybe he's going to finish late and everybody's walking in front of him. So don't do that. Make sure when you take a place in the base of Medrash, in the shul, take a place that's behind the table, behind the stender, in a place that generally isn't the walkway that everyone is walking. However, the Maisa, the poskim say, you're right, he did something wrong, he is doing something wrong. However, that doesn't make it mutter for you to be lavel of name because he did something wrong, because at the end of the day, Mafsik ben Shechina, Mevatel Kavana, is still, again, that is the Psak L'Maisa, Rosh Hashanah, and Shuvas Van Hoggers, Reb Shlomo Zalman, and other poskim as well. There are those who are makel, I will tell you. The Hovis Nostrum brings down a tshuva to be makel, since they have no right to daven there, they have an issa to stand there. Memela, there's no problem in lavel of famous spal. There's a famous Maisa for Rav Moshe. Famous Maisa for Rav Moshe. Rav Moshe was once walking out, and Rav Moshe Vash the God Lador, right? When he was walking out, it wasn't a stam, he was walking out because he understood that obviously there was a reason that he had to go somewhere, and he stopped. And the Gabuim over there said, Rebbe, keep moving. We got to go. We have an appointment. We have a meeting. We have a speech. Whatever it may be, right? Ramosha God Lador. The whole world was, whole Klal Yisrael was on his shoulders, and he said, There's a wall in front of me." And I said, "Wall? We don't see no wall." There was a guy davening Shemon Esrei for Ramosha. There's a wall. If the halacha says I can't pass there, there's a wall in front of me. He took it that way. I will tell you, by the way, Yair asked this kasha. Somebody sent me an email about this, by the way. Somebody sent me an email. It says like this. This comes from a guy called David. I'm not going to say where he comes from, it's irrelevant. First of all, I want to thank you. I like listening to the show. I listen on the way to work, in the car. Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. I was listening today and I had a question about walking in front of someone in front of Shemon Esrei. I find it to be more of a distraction if I know that someone is standing in front of me waiting for me to finish to take his 3 steps back. I'm sure there are others who feel the same way. Is it possible that it's better to take the 3 steps back to help their kavana? Is there anyone that says that? So there are those who say that, but it might say at the end of the day it won't really help you because you still got mafsik ben Shechina. So you're right, his kavana is being mevatel by the very fact that he knows that the guy in front of you is waiting, but at the end of the day you mafsik ben Shechina, which is going to be a problem in that case. Again, if he's on the side, there's definitely more of a mokim to be made. By the way, Reb Chaim Palaji writes on this halacha, he calls it menias kovod u'moyer Shechina. A person has to realize that a person realizes that a person is davening, is talking to the Rabbeinu Shalom, oimim lefnei Shechina. How can you stand in front of him? The Torah brings down the reason for sitting in front of someone with spalal. Mishum denira keilu eina reitzel akabel ol malchus shemayim kechaveiroi. So the Torah, a mission that when you walk in front of someone who's davening, you sit in front of someone who's davening, whatever it may be, it's as if for you, says the Lashon HaTorah, kilu eina reitzel akabel ol malchus shemayim kechaveiroi. You're not makabel or malchus shemayim like a friend. Rabbi say we have to take this seriously, Be'ez Hashem, and we hope the Rabbi Shalom listens to all our tefillahs. Have an amazing day.